race day, and it's a beautiful morning for motor racing, as Jackie Stewart used to say. We're at Pikes Peak, and you race the mountain, and the mountain has thrown us a real curveball today. After warm and sunny all week, it's cool and cloudy and wet, and it's a little bit different all the way up. I was sure after snow last night, there'd be no way that we'd be running all the way to the summit. But the road is warm from the week of warm weather, and we are going to go all the way up, which is what we really wanted to do. And the long distance is a challenge for us, but the wet, that's on our side. I'm very comfortable in the rain. I love it. If you know me, usually we do very well. You never know. And we've got these Yokohama racing rain tires. Racing rain tires. So I know I got a great tire for tricky conditions.
I have a new front splitter on the car now, and then yesterday we went out to Pueblo and dialed it in a bit further, did some testing. Happy with the new front splitter, happy with the rear suspension. We increased the rebound on the rear, yes. And car started to feel better, so we're still dialing in the suspension for the bumpy sections. And I think we're about as dialed in as we've been. I mean, every day we're progressing, and I feel like we have maybe the right car for the right environment.
The changes we've made have made a lot of progress, and I feel much, much better, but I'm going to be careful up top.
You know, the challenging thing about this event, as we've said, is it's really two different tracks in one. And the top is, you know, I'm joking and calling it the rodeo, because you watch this thing and the way the cars respond, and it's like, it's a rodeo up there.
But we've tied it down by using more shock damping to reduce the amount of travel. And it's feeling good, but we have not had a chance to test it. And I'm going to test it today on the race run.
All rise in the presence of Dark Helmet.
So we're down here at the pit. Randy just finished his run, and one of the hardest things about Pikes Peak is you don't know what the hell's going on when you're down here. There's no communication up there. So the data that we have at the moment was basically us watching him launch off the line, watching the screen and the sector times. And it's really frustrating and a lot of emotion. And what was cool was the first sector time, he was the fastest of anybody. And that made us extremely happy because we know the car is great, we know the driver is great, but there's a lot of variables up here. As you can see, you can't see. You can't see up here. At the start line, you couldn't even see the first turn. So Randy's doing this off of memory, I think. Well, Craig, what was your experience watching the sector times as this went along?
Well, as you said, the sector times are so difficult to go through as we're at the bottom. And my heart's running, I'm nervous, and every minute feels like a day. It's absolutely insane. And, you know, when we saw the first time, very quick, fastest time of the day. Second one, fastest time of the day.
No, we were 2 seconds off on the second.
2 seconds off?
Yeah, Donner had us by 2 on the second, we had him by 3 on the first.
And then third section, a little bit slower. There was a guy timing with his phone, and time passed where we thought that he should have already completed his run, and then I really got nervous. I didn't know what to think. Honestly, I thought the worst, because it hurts. You don't know. You have no idea. We still don't know what happened.
You honestly don't know, is the car slow or is the driver in danger? And that last sector time is really valuable because it means the driver's not in danger and the car got across the finish line. And that was and is the most important thing. But it leaves questions when the car gets really slow at the end. You know, for those who are here looking around, we're surrounded by 71 other cars. A number of them are purpose-built just for this event. Yeah. Open wheel race cars with 1,500 horsepower. Just as a reminder, we're racing a mass production sedan. We didn't add any power. The regulations out here say that a factory record can be done with an ECU tune, So even the cars that are running factory records are running higher boost and more power. We're running stock power, and we're on average 1,500 pounds heavier than every other car out here. And every year we're getting faster. It's really a race against the mountain, a race against ourselves, and just, you know, the ongoing challenge of trying to see how fast things can go.
Off we go, cross the start line, and wow, foggy, wet, grip pretty good. Power, great, it's a Plaid. Coasting it through that 90. I'm getting a feel for the grip down the hill, but the vision's not great, but it's good enough. I'm being careful here as I figure out what the car wants and using the power to make time on the straightaways. The course is just more risky when it's wet. We never ran in the wet. I did a few years ago, combining the turns, running pretty much the same line. Started to get more confidence in the grip of the Yokohama Racing Rain tires. I mean, we got the right tire. This bump is where I almost lost it in qualifying, so I actually slowed down to take it easy there. Now I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Feel good about giving it a good squirt around this long right-hander. Another very similar maneuver. We're generating more G's now. Good squirt around this one. I get a little wider than I want. And then up the hill. You know I love this hill because of this 30-mile-an-hour sign right there. And then back to the left. I'm in a little hot. I don't get the line as well as I like it. We're still wet. We're heading up to the corner that leads to Engineers. Grip is good, power is good, brakes are good. Everything's happy. I wish it was wet the whole way up. Now we got a long straightaway. We're getting over 100 miles an hour and I can't see. So I back off about 110, 113. And then brake a little later, and it's dry. Here we are at Engineers, pretty darn dry. I get wide again, pushing it on those rain tires. They're better in the rain. Little power oversteer coming out on the way to picnic grounds. The car's got some squirm because it has a lot of tread. These tires are meant for rain, not dry. And look, whole nother day, completely dry, 129 miles an hour. Into the bend that's heading for this first switchback. I'm starting to really feel some slewing about. This off-camber corner never has grip, and it's not great right now. The compound is good, but the tread blocks are tall. First switchback, brown bush. Using that big electric power. Look at the way that squirts. And then holding the inside. Visibility is poor. The tires are funky. They are not happy on this mostly dry surface because they're designed for heavy rain. But we're making the best of it. It's kind of fun. It drifts around a bit. 11-mile water station, we gas it, then tuck it back in. I can hear the tires squealing through here. And I know I'm punishing them. Up this short, curvy straightaway, we don't have anywhere near the grip of a dry tire, but it's not that bad. So I'm going for what I can get. This sweeper, you hold it inside longer. Wait a minute, now go. We're heading up Heitman's Hill. Normally flat out here at 90, but I lifted because I don't have the grip I normally do. Well, we get where up in the mid 120s. I braked early, same reason. Don't have the grip I normally do, but we're getting by. Quite a bit of tire slide. See that understeer sent me wide? Ski area, late apex, big crowd. Use the whole road, a little bit of power oversteer, heading for Rookie's Corner. We have the sway bars disconnected, and they're not having much of an effect at all. I mean, it feels very similar to how it did in terms of the body roll because we have high spring rates, very little effect from the sway bars. Into the sump, a long sweeper, decreasing radius. I'm not real pleased with the grip, but we got to live with it, and I expect it to get wetter as we go up. But on this mountain, you just never know what you're going to get. Heading on towards the switchback below Glen Cove. We get some good power down here, back over 100 for a moment. Braking's actually pretty good. Cornering, not so good. The tires are really getting hot here. See that understeer? How long I had to hold the wheel in it? Now we're going to the second part of the switchback below Glen Cove. Tightens up. The car's sliding and slewing about, and we're heading for the section we never get to practice. This is going to Glen Cove. Glen Cove makes me nervous because we had trouble on bumps, And right about this little guardhouse, it's bumpy. See those bumps? We soaked them up nicely. Through what I call dirt corner, it slides again. I love when it slides under power because that's fun, makes it feel powerful. Down into George's, just waiting on that slide. Rain tires are really hot by now. And roaring up the hill, I don't trust the grip into this little offset, backing off about 85 miles an hour, into the long uphill sweeper again, tire grip, not real good. I wish it was wet. I'm hoping for rain. And there's the first sign of that darn condensation on the inside of the window. We're going up to Elk Park, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, my window's fogging up, and so is the outside. This is called the race to the clouds. Here we are. I can't see a bloody thing. Supposed to be flat out around this bend. I lift and down into Ragged Edge. We run through here pretty good because I can see it. Battery color changing to orange, and we've lost some power, but we're going to just keep rolling with what we got. In our testing, the power was still good at orange. Into Double Cut. It's starting to get a little wetter, which for me is encouraging, but look at the windshield. This is bad, bad. If I knew how to turn up the darn defroster fan, I would. We're running it, but it's only on 2. And the course is kind of playing into our hands again because the road's getting a little bit wetter. The tires can cool off a little bit. The compound will work better, but I cannot see, and it's getting worse. We're heading into the W's. We've gone through the first. Now we're in the second. It's real important to keep track of what W you're in, because this second one, you do a hairpin right and you go flat out around the mountain. Look at the road. It's getting wet. This will be good for our grip. But look at the fog on the windshield. I can't see. Third leg. Hairpin left. Look at how that wheel I got to put in, that's understeer. Around the bend, flat out here, and then a big brake zone that I just can't see. It's getting worse and worse. We got a problem, Houston. And this one, I can't even see, no problem. It has no guardrail, no nothing. I just hug the inside like my mama when I was a baby. And off we go in a short straight, heading for 16 mile, just below Devil's Playground. Vision is a huge problem at this point. I'm starting to figure out, what can I do here? I tried to make sure the fan was running under the dash. Then I loosened the belts and I can wipe the windshield, but not low enough. That foggy patch is exactly where I need to look. Up over Devil's Playground. Look at that crowd. I'm afraid I'm going to hit somebody. I'm trying to reach that windshield. I don't know where the defroster is in this Tesla. And we're going into a 100-mile-an-hour sweeper. And I'm getting very, very distressed and stressed. It's so hard to see that I've slowed way the hell down. Look at the speed, 60 miles an hour. It should be 100 plus, but that's nothing but air out there on the right. So I'm hugging the mountain, hoping for the best, getting very, very frustrated. This is Bottomless Pit, where I had a big crash a few years ago. Look how nicely the car went through there. Our shock adjustments are actually quite successful, but I can't see where I'm going. I got her up to about 80. That should have been 120. I know I'm going slow, but at this point it is pure survival mode. Don't wreck the car. I know it's foggy, but folks, it was 10 times worse for me, because that little patch you see right in front of me is exactly where my eyes are located, exactly where I need to see. And I'm sitting kind of up in the seat with the belts loose to try to see over it. Another sweeper, just hopelessly blind. I'm going 60, I should be going 90, 100, 110. I feel the seconds clicking away while I'm just struggling to see. I only get one chance. We hang a left, we're heading for Boulder Park. I'm utterly blind at this point. Look through that fog. That's all I had. Nothing. So I'm going slow, 55. Actually, I'm pretty proud of that. Back through Boulder Park. Look at the behavior. we're not bouncing around as bad as we were. We increased the dampening and the car's holding the ground better. There are impacts with the ground, but not as bad. So that's encouraging. But I'm not encouraged because I can't. You might as well put your hand in front of your face. I'm driving blind and I'm 14,000 feet up. It's dangerous. I'm squeezing the power back on when I can. The car still has a fair amount of power. When you start with 1,000 and you lose some, you still have 500. But I just can't see. And I can't reach the part that I need to see. And it's only getting worse. I feel the time ticking away and I get incredibly frustrated. We're going up a long straightaway into a brake zone where I broke the splitter last time, and the car soaks up those bumps better than it did. We're almost home. I'm a combination of pissed and disappointed and angry and frustrated. The fog is getting worse. I think I'm going to reach up there and try to do something, but there's not much I can do. This band of fog across the middle of the windshield is exactly where I need to look. And you can see the defroster. I'm like, come on, let's do something. But I know that the only part I can reach is too high. And the idea of driving around Pikes Peak with your belts loose is not real great either. We're almost home. I'm going for survival here. I can't see. And I'm ready. I'm just screaming. Through some big bumps. There's the checkered flag. And it's over. It's going to have to be next year, folks. Pikes Peak is in the bag. It's always an adventure, especially at Pikes Peak. That's part of what I love about it. You never know what you're going to get. I keep kicking myself like if I had just turned that fan up more on the defroster, but we didn't think it would be necessary. Potential. We're left with a lot of potential here. The car was in a condition to run a really great time, and we almost did, except for that one factor.
Yeah, you know, it's always the blessing and the curse of Pikes Peak. People love it and hate it for this factor of just not being able to prepare for every variable. You know, you think you check off everything on the list, you get everything planned out right, and then can't see out of the windshield. Like, it's unbelievable the number of things that can go wrong out here, and you don't get a second chance at it until a year later. It's a very expensive race to run. It takes a month or so of work to even get to this point, and then you end up there with these variables that just eat you. They eat you. And, you know, I share your frustration because as a spectator down here watching the scoreboard, I added up Sector 1 and Sector 2, and you beat Donner in the Porsche 911, and you also beat Zwart in his factory 935 Porsche race car for those two sectors.
That's a good sign.
So we knew the car was good.
I feel a little better.
And we know the driver is the best.
I want to redo. I want a mulligan.
So, you know, if you look at the first two sectors, Donner was second overall out of 72 cars. You were hanging with them. But because of what happened, we're, I think, 14 out of 72, which is respectable. But there's no award for driving blind. If there was, you'd win.
I got to get a hold of my emotions and just say thank you, Ben and Avi.
Thank you. It's
and
a great
the whole
team. Great team, great driver, great car.
What an adventure. You guys make a Tesla into even more, a whole new kind of animal that wants to devour racetracks. The downforce works.
Excellent.
Did a good job there.
Excellent.
And the shock adjustments worked. The car was much better over the bumps. We were ready. Almost. And that's what they make next year for.